Let's check in on the US, because before a reserve currency loses its spot, the same four things happen, and they show up roughly in the same order every time. Sign number one, the debt becomes unpayable. So the Dutch had their wars, Britain had its two world wars, America has $39.7 trillion of debt right now, and the interest alone on that debt is $1 trillion per year. That's more than America spends on its entire military, and the debt pile is now bigger than the entire US economy's yearly output. No country has ever run numbers like that and stayed on top. Sign number two, they say the right words while doing the complete opposite. I mean, Britain's chancellor swore that they'd never devalue right up until they did. Now listen to Washington. What are they saying? Every Treasury Secretary for the last 30 years has recited, "We believe in a strong dollar." Meanwhile, Trump says openly on camera that he wants a weaker dollar for exports. He's the first president in history who doesn't even pretend. And last week, Kevin Warsh, the new Fed chair, just stood up at a forum in Portugal and promised the world that inflation is going back to 2%. I mean, the Fed's own forecast says 3.6% this year, right? The official number right now is 4.2% on inflation. And anyone who's done a shop lately, a food shop, will tell you that the official number is probably bullshit. So the words they're saying are 2% and stability, and the math says that your dollar is losing at least 4% per year. When the words and the actions split up like that, believe the actions. Right? That's sign number two. Sign number three, they trap people into holding a dying currency. This is the one where I need you to pay close attention, because the modern version is clever. Britain did it with those sterling balances I talked about and that 50-pound rule on holiday. America just did it with a law that most people never heard of. It's called the Genius Act. It passed in July of last year, and it regulates stablecoins, the digital dollars in crypto. Stablecoins are like digital. It doesn't matter. I'll explain them in a sec. So the law says every regulated stablecoin must be backed by US government debt. If you issue a digital dollar, you're buying treasuries. No choice. You have to back it with government debt. So Washington just built itself a captive buyout for its own debt, one that legally can't say no. They have to buy US debt if they want to exist. It's pretty clever, really. Now, what's the value of these stablecoins? How much debt are they actually going to buy? So Tether, that's one single crypto company, now holds roughly $140 billion of US government debt. That makes it something like the 17th biggest holder on the planet, bigger than most actual countries. But that's only $140 billion, right? It's almost nothing in the grand scheme of things. Well, how about this? A couple of weeks ago, 140 of the biggest companies on earth, so that's Visa, MasterCard, BlackRock, Google, announced that they are launching one shared digital dollar together. It's called OpenUSD, a stablecoin created by the most evil companies in the world, allegedly. And it's backed by US debt, which is probably quickly going to eat up trillions of US debt when the thing gets going. Now, here's my favorite part of this entire scam. And when I say favorite, I mean, if you're an evil psychopath trying to squeeze already broke people for just a few more cents each, under the law, they are banned from paying you interest if you hold these stable coins. So you hand over your dollars, you buy stable coins, and they buy government debt with those stable coins, and they keep the interest. I mean, you're holding just some magical bullshit internet money token and they pay you nothing. It's a crazy good business model for them. You thought banks were evil. At least a bank pays you interest when you put a dollar in the bank. I mean, it's a pittance, but at least it pays you more than zero. But stablecoins, they're paying you zero. And on top of that, just like Britain did, they hold rates near or below real inflation. So cash savers, people with money in the bank, they eat the loss year after year because their currency, their money slowly gets debased. Okay, on to sign number four. The rest of the world just quietly moves away first. So before Nixon closed the gold window in 1971, when he ended the gold standard, foreign governments had spent years swapping their dollars for gold and shipping it home. They saw it coming and they moved before any announcement was made. Now look at today. The dollar share of global reserves has fallen from 72% in 2001 to around 57, 56% now. Central banks have been net buyers of gold for 16 years straight, over 1,000 tons last year alone. These are the people who print money, swapping their own product for metal as fast as they can, without spooking anyone, right? They're trying not to scare people, but that's what they're doing. And for the first time since 1996, foreign central banks now hold more of their reserves in gold than in US treasuries. That flip got barely any coverage, which tells you how early we still are to this whole thing. Anyway, guys, if you found this interesting and want to hear more about it, make sure to watch the full video. It should be popping up on your screen sometime now, somewhere here maybe.